PC Voyage. I'm Rainey Laviolette.
And I'm Diana McLean.
And tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about Microsoft Windows. Not that that's that much different, but we're going to give it a shot here.
We'll have a lot of fun doing it.
The contest is to see who screws up the most times tonight. We're going to do two parts of Windows right now. We're going to get into the control panel, and then later on we're going to get into the file manager. So we're going to roll right into this. And we've got Windows 3.1 already started. And we're going to click onto the main group and go right into the control panel. Now, as you can see, it's loading in all the icons in the group. And going from left to right in the top row, we've got color, which will allow us to set the color of the desktop. We've got fonts, which will allow us to install TrueType fonts. We have ports, which is the communications ports. We have the mouse, which allows us to control the pointing device, whether it's a mouse or a trackball. The desktop itself, which we can go in and customize. We can make all kinds of modifications in there. The keyboard, the printers, as far as defining and setting up your printers. International support, you can change the way dollars and decimal numbers are displayed. We can go into date and time and change the time. 386 enhanced, you will see if you have a 386 machine. We have drivers for optional devices such as CD-ROMs and keyboards, and then we have sound. So you can add sound support into Windows itself. We're going to start up here with the color icon. We're going to double click on that, and as you can see, it comes up with the different color schemes. It says Windows Default. If we click down on the button here, you'll see a list comes up of all different kinds of Windows colors. And what we can do is we can go through them, and you'll see them all displayed down here in this little sample window. This is Arizona, black leather jacket, Bordeaux, cinnamon. So I mean, if you have all kinds of, if you have preferences as far as how you want to see your windows displayed, these are some pre-packaged ones that you can go into. Now, if you don't like any of these, what you can do is you can go and actually set up your own color palette. And you can go in each one of the screen elements, the desktop, the application workspace, the window background, the window text, menu bar, menu text, and so on all the way down the line. Now, one of the things you'll notice as you're doing this is that any changes that you make here will affect your Windows, all your Windows programs. Let's say, for example, we want to change the desktop to a red, and we want to change our Windows text to, oh, what did we call it? How about a yellow?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. How about a green? There we go. So now if we click OK here, you'll see that now that our desktop colors have actually changed to what we've selected in the color part of the control panel. What we're going to do is let's go back and click back on the Windows default and get it back to the way it was. You can also, as part of the color palette, set up your own custom colors. There we go. You can actually go in and define your own colors if you want to get someone with a particular hue, or you can set your own red color, red, green, and blue guns, and actually go right in and add the color into your desktop. We won't get into that. Let's just set everything back to normal. And we're going to move into fonts. Now, fonts will allow you to add, delete, and remove TrueType fonts. And if you click on a font, you'll see down here that it comes up as a sample. If you want to add TrueType fonts or remove fonts, you click over here, and we don't have any to add. You could actually add them off a diskette if you went out and purchased either a shareware diskette or a commercial diskette of fonts. You go in here and select Drive A and add them right into here. Now, you can, as far as TrueType fonts goes, TrueType fonts is something that's new to Microsoft Windows 3.1. If you want to enable TrueType fonts along with the standard Windows fonts that came with Windows 3.0, you can click here, Enable TrueType fonts. If you want to show only the TrueType fonts, you can see that. Actually, the first one should have been, if you don't want to see, if you want to see TrueType fonts and the Windows fonts. If you want to see just the Windows fonts, I'm getting in trouble here. If you want to see just the Windows fonts, you just click both of these off. So we'll just click it right there, so we'll see both the Windows and the TrueType fonts. Hello, there we go. And we'll close this. Going into ports, on this machine we've got COM1 I don't believe we have a COM2, but if you want, you double click on it and actually go in and set your baud rate, your data bits, the parity, and the stop bits that you have for each of your ports. You can also go in and do some advanced settings, such as your base I/O address and your interrupt request.
And that's the network.
No, it's if you have like a serial printer or a serial
okay.
device attached, you might want to set it here as opposed to letting your software set it. Most software overrides this, so personally I don't feel it's such a great value. And we'll get back out of this. The mouse support, as you can see on here, I don't know whether you can tell or not, we've enlarged the mouse pointer.
Just a little
Just
bit.
a little. We went to insane as far as size goes. If you like a faster mouse, you can set the acceleration up and your mouse moves a little bit faster around the screen. But we'll leave it at moderate, which is the default. You can also set your double click speed. If you're not a real fast double clicker, you can come over here and test. Alright, if you feel as though you're a real fast double clicker, you can actually set the double click speed to however you feel you're better. The sensitivity of the vertical and the horizontal you can also set within this, either as a group or individually.
And sometimes when you're in the program manager and you're trying to click something, you might be just off by a hair, and that's when the sensitivity of the mouse comes in, where you won't be doing that so often, hopefully.
Hopefully. And you can also set things like the pointers, where you can actually create a small pointer, medium pointer, or a large pointer. You can also do a normal color, reverse color, so you see a black pointer. You can do a normal, which is a white pointer, or you can see a transparent, which as you see, you can just see the outline of it as it's going over different buttons or different parts of the screen. It actually changes color. We're going to keep it back to the normal. You can actually set, I don't know why this is turned off here, but you could actually go in and set the mouse trails, which would actually show you a trail of mouse pointers all the way through. You can actually even also set the growth. I'll actually set the growth. I'm snickering over there, I don't know what they're talking about. Alright, we'll get it back out of this, and we'll move over to the desktop. The desktop's one of the most important things. A lot of people tend to forget. They think you need programs like After Dark to actually go in and set screensavers. Well, you don't. You can actually go in, and Windows comes with some screensavers that you can actually go in and set up. So you don't need to purchase another product like After Dark. Let me reset the speed on this.
I was just going to say that.
There we go. We can set the speed, warp speed. We can actually set the number of windows you see. We can actually password protect this. Let's go back into the test. But it still looks slow, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
As you can see, there are actually Windows logos flying across the screen. And Windows comes with about 5 or 6 different ones that you can actually set. You have the flying windows, you got a blank screen, you have a marquee, and you can go through and test all these if you want. But we won't do that. You can actually set your delay in minutes as far as whether you want this to go on after 2 minutes of inactivity. Going back up to the top, we can go in and set our background pattern. If we want to, let's say we want diamonds. And if we click on this, you'll see the background of the desktop of the screen has actually changed.
Well, that's nice.
To a little diamond. Yeah, it's cute.
Although it does take up more memory and it takes more time to load, doesn't it?
More so if you have if you have an alternate bitmap as opposed to something like this. Because you can also go in and actually have different wallpaper loaded. Like if you want to use the arches here, and go in and test that, we can see that. We'll minimize everything out of here. You see a nice little arches background on your screen.
Well, isn't that cute? You can put an icon under each one.
Yeah, you can do that.
If you wanted to.
You could actually even go in if you have a company logo or a particular, cartoon character or whatever. There's bitmaps for all kinds of bitmaps for all kinds of things you want. As far as icons go, you can actually set the spacing of the icons and the wrapping of the title. And as far as the sizing grid goes, as far as the sizing of the grids, you can actually change that so that if you're real close, you don't want to be real close to an icon when you click on it, you can set that as well. And your blink rate, as you can see, there's a little cursor right here blinking, and you can set that to faster or to slower, whichever you set is a preference. And all these are just preferences. however you want to set it up. Let me go back to the desktop here. I want to change this back to normal.
Oh, good.
We'll do this, and we'll set the pattern back to none, just like normal. Maybe
Some people just like the tried and true.
Oh, that's what I didn't change. None. There we go. That's what I forgot. There we go. As far as keyboard, we can set the keyboard speed of delay for the first key, and you can also set the repeat rate. I keep it nice and fast. Printers. Now, if you have a printer that you want to set up, Microsoft Windows, during the setup of the program, will let you go in and set up your printers.
Now, what's the difference between that and the printer manager?
The print manager actually controls the spooling out to the printer, where the printer here allows you to actually physically set up what kind of printer you have installed.
Okay.
As you can see here, I've got an HP LaserJet and an IBM Pro printer set up here. And if you wanted to go in and add extra printers, it's probably going to ask me for here a list of all the printers that it has, and most of these are on diskettes, so you can just load these all right in.
And the wonderful thing about Windows, if you don't want to do it, press cancel.
That's right. If we want to go in and set up that printer, say the HP LaserJet, we've got it set up to 300 dot per inch, paper size, paper source, and all these. And if we have different font cartridges, we can load those in here as well. It's multiple selects. You actually set the orientation. Most programs will allow you internally to set the orientation, but these are just defaults. If you have, you can go in and set further options, and this will vary from printer to printer, because the paper, like the orientation of a portrait or landscape, obviously doesn't work on a dot matrix printer, so it wouldn't be relative. So we'll get out of this, and then we can also, if you're attached to a network, you can also get involved as far as how it's connected to the network. As far as international settings go, they have the different country files in here, all different countries, language, keyboard layout, measurement. Now, in some countries, or some people actually prefer, now that we're getting closer to the century, that they want to see the century as 1990 versus 19 as opposed to 90.
Okay.
And you can actually go in here and set that so that whenever you're looking at a date in Windows, you'll see 1993. Time format, and again, they did this because Windows is shipped to different countries, where the currency symbol and the placement and everything is so different that they've just allowed you to go in and customize it.
And it changes it throughout the entire program.
Every Windows program, every intelligent Windows program will be able to pick that up.
Right.
As far as date and time goes, you know, when you want to change for daylight savings time, you find your clock's losing speed or losing time, you can go in there. 386 Enhanced is a very important feature, especially if you're running this on a 386 machine, which with 3.1 you need to. You can set your Windows scheduling. You can also set your minimum time slice. What we're going to go into here is something a little bit more important, I think, and that's virtual memory.
Oh, yes.
Virtual memory, what Windows likes to do is, Microsoft's definition is that Windows wants 3 meg of memory for every 1 meg of RAM. They want 3 megs of hard drive space for 1 meg of RAM. So if you've got an 8 meg machine, they want 24 meg of hard drive space. And what we're going to do here is, as you can see here, it's got 8 meg being used. And we're going to wait for this to set up here. And it's going to come back and it's going to say the maximum size is 26, recommended size is 8, based on I think the amount of free space that I actually have on the system right now. It's not trying to eat up all 26 meg, but it would like to if it could. It wouldn't use, don't ever try to set it more than whatever they say is the maximum size, because Windows itself won't use it. 32-bit disk access is available on some machines, and Microsoft always sets it off. Have you ever heard the word bus mastering card or bus mastering system? Essentially, most of the hard drive cards, the IDEs and the MFMs, they all have a chip on them. They all have the same chip that can actually control the disk access faster if that chip's enabled. But with this clicked on, it will actually allow you to enable that chip. Thus, instead of having to go through the processor to do all the disk I/O, it actually goes right out. Windows goes right out to the card itself and reads the information. If that made any sense at all. If you have it, go in and turn it on, and you'll be much better off. If you don't have it, it won't be there, so you don't have to worry about if you're using a SCSI drive or some others. As far as drivers go, if you've got a sound card in, or you've got a MIDI sequencer, you can go in here and install them, and you do just click add. It'll ask you to pop a disc in if you don't have one that's listed. If you have a Sound Blaster card, you click there and click OK. I don't have any sound cards in here. And as far as sound goes, actually the only sound card I do have, I have the PC speaker driver set up in here. It's one that Microsoft doesn't ship with Windows, but it's one that you have to download from their bulletin board or from CompuServe or get it from somebody who has it. As far as sound goes, they've got different events that are going on, and some of these are application specific, like these here for Windows CompuServe Information Manager.
Okay, Rainey.
You cut me off in the middle of my sentence.
Well, most of us.
Pretty much that covers everything in the control panel. How's that?
That's pretty good. Very good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to have to take a break now, and we'll be right back.
That's right. We'll be right back with File Manager.
Watch for PC Voyage weekly on your local community access channel.
Welcome back. Now what we're going to do is Diana's going to show us how to use File Manager.
File Manager.
Let me just close these down. Put you back into a place where you can get into. Go for it.
Well, thank you. We're in the main group, and we're going to double click on File Manager so that we can discuss it. While it's processing, you can see that there's the drive that we're in and the directory path.
Mm-hmm.
Right here are the different drives, the A, B, and C drives. Right now we're in the C, that's the root directory. A directory, the icon for a directory is a yellow file folder. And in this case, this file is open. And on this side, or excuse me, this directory is open. On this side contains all the directories and files in that drive. If we wanted to copy or move files from one drive to another, we would need to show the other drive on the screen. And this, doing that, we would double click.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. It's his computer. Double click on the A drive, and now we have a window for the A drive. Next, we would like to tile it so we can see both of them to do what we need to do here.
Mm-hmm.
When we want to select some files, we can select one by pointing with the mouse, like here, Bedrock is highlighted. Or if we want to select a consecutive list of files, you would click, hit the Shift key, and say we want to go to C serve. There's our highlighted files. In case you just wanted files scattered about all over the board, we would hit Control with our finger and say we want a major, pinball, etc. And that's how we would select the files. You can just drag a file over to another directory. Here's Bedrock, and here we are putting it in the A drive in the A directory. And here's our confirmation. Do you want to copy the file over to the directory? And yes, we do. So,
Fortunately, there's only 2 files, so it's not like we're going to copy lots of them.
yes, here we are copying the files. And while we're doing it's all done, nice and quick. What else we want to do, what's good about File Manager is that we can also copy disks or format disks just by clicking the button. For example, format drive A, you can put the label on, OK, and you're all set.
One of the problems with File Manager is that it requires that you know what capacity you want. You know, like here, it's got you set to a 1.44.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know whether Windows knows what kind of a drive that is and then goes in and adjusts itself where it always shows you the 1.44.
You can always check your diskette, right?
You can always do that as well.
So we'll cancel that because we don't have a diskette to do that with today. Another thing that is really neat about the window is that on the left-hand side is the tree, excuse me, and in the tree you can have it designate which directories are expandable, which ones have subdirectories. And this is just by clicking the indicate expandable branches.
As you can see down on the bottom.
Now let me just expand this one so you can see that better. As you can see, the plus sign indicates that there are there are subdirectories inside that branch. For example, if I click on brief, double click it, excuse me, I can see there's a help subdirectory in it. Now, as you can see, it's open, and over here are the files or directories in it. Another thing that you can do is collapse the branch that we just did, so it's back to normal.
And if you double clicked on the open folder, it would close that as well.
Yes, so you can do that. You can also expand all the branches if you just pick the top one, and you'd really have a tree.
Especially on this system.
Especially on this one. Another thing that's nice too is that if you wanted, you could just have the tree show. So here we have the tree. I prefer to have the tree and the directory show. Also, some people might like to have just the directory with all the files in it show, so they can click that. Another thing that's nice is to be able to customize the view of the window. So what people do is you can click split, and since there's so much empty space here, just hit over here. Now you have more room to fit your files. In this case, the files are sorted by name. You can also tell the file details. I think partial details are pretty nice. You can do the last modification date, the size, the date, and you can view that. So then if you want to see what file you've been working on the most recently, you'll know which one it is.
So it looks more like a regular directory.
Yeah, and also, if I can show you, the directories don't show how much space is taken up. So here's the files, and here's the space that it's taken up. So you can tell which are the large files and which you might want to get rid of or try to consolidate somehow. Options come next. Confirmation, that has to do with do you really want to delete it? Do you really want to copy it? Do you really want to move it? All that type of thing. I prefer to keep that in just in case, because sometimes, you get tired or something. You might click something that you didn't intend to. It's nice to double check. Or you move the mouse the wrong way and would accidentally copy a file over another file. Right, right. Also, you can change the font, which is nice in case you just don't like to look at that. You might want to change it. Who knows? And save these settings on exit. So then when you're coming up after you've worked on this, you might have your two directories out or whatever you prefer to do.
However you customize File Manager itself.
Exactly, exactly. The tools discuss the backup, the antivirus, the double space, DOS 6.0.
If they're already installed.
Yes, right, exactly. And we already discussed the Windows, so...
Now if you go into View, can you get rid of the directories off the right-hand side? You know how you have the directories on both the left-hand side and the right-hand side? Can you get rid of the directories on the right-hand side?
Oh, on the right-hand side? Yes, you can. By file type. You hit file type. You don't want to know about the directories over here, so you just press that. Also, if you're a beginner programmer, you might not care about the batch files and all that type of stuff, so you could get rid of the programs. And if you're an expert, you might want to show the hidden in system files. You might want to click on that. So if we got rid of the directories, so as you can see, there's no more yellow directories on the right-hand side.
Cleans up the interface a little bit.
Yeah, plus you already have them over on this side, so you're all set.
Right. Now, can you actually launch a program from the icon, from the file name?
Well, that's another thing. If you're up in the main directory, the root directory, and you want to find a file, but you're not quite sure of its path name, you can select File and search for the name of the file. In this case, we'd want to search for, what's a good one?
Well, all the TXT files.
Okay, so we would say star.txt. And
You
it will,
actually see down the status bar, it actually says that we're actually
and
reading.
they're reading the files right there. And it will search for all the text files. If you want to go directly into one of those files, all you have to do is double click on that file and you can go right into the program you want to run,
That's great.
into that file.
That's great. And you can actually define them as you need them.
So it's very good. Yes.
Good.
Much easier to use.
Well, that's a
See, there it is.
great discussion of File Manager.
Well, thank you.
Did an excellent job. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut out and go right to the PC Voyage address. If you have any comments or suggestions.
Oh, yes, and we
You
want to
want
show
one?
you.
If this little sheet that we did several weeks ago of a shopping list on purchasing a computer, you can send for this as well, and we'll be more than happy to send it to you. And all entries will be eligible for the software giveaway. I don't know what software we have yet, but
Oh, plenty.
oh good, oh good. So we'll have the address right up.
Hello, welcome back. I hope you liked our show for today.
We did a great job with Control Panel and
Oh,
Presentation
we sure
Manager.
did.
A second look at Windows.
Oh, yes. And maybe we'll have some more on Windows.
I think
in
there's a lot
coming
more. And
shows.
people can write in if they want to see even more still.
Yeah. Or have any questions or comments about the show.
That's right. I'm Rainey Laviolette,
And I'm Diana McLean.
and we'll see you next time on PC Voyage. Another great job.